Today we're going to review compound and complex sentences one last time. Watch this video closely and send me a message if you have any questions, because we will have a test on this today. So our lesson goals are that we're going to be able to distinguish between the compound and complex sentences. That means we're going to be able to recognize which one is which. And we will correctly punctuate both compound sentences and complex sentences. As a review, compound sentences combined two simple sentences with a comma and a coordinating conjunction of fanboys in the middle of the two sentences. They always have two complete thoughts, and they only use for and nor, but, or, yet, so. Complex sentences combine one dependent clause and one independent clause. The dependent clause starts with a subordinating conjunction. It only needs a comma if the dependent clause comes first. Here's an example. Compound. My sister wants to go to the pumpkin patch is a complete thought. Comma, but I still think it is too hot outside is a complete thought. But if I look at my complex sentence, if the weather gets cooler is dependent. It's not a complete thought by itself. So I need a comma because the dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence. If the weather gets cooler, I might change my mind. Is this compound or complex? And where do I need my comma? I was frightened of scarecrows when I was a child. Well, I was frightened of scarecrows. Let's look. I was frightened of scarecrows is a complete thought. So I'm going to mark this CT so I know it's a complete thought. When I was a child is dependent. When I was a child is not a complete thought. It can't stand by itself. So that means that I have a complex sentence and I don't need a comma because the dependent clause is at the end. Okay, but what about this one? Compound or complex, and do I need a comma? Turkeys are strange birds, but they taste good. Well, right off the bat, I can see a fanboys. But is a fanboys. We only use those with compound sentences, so this has to be compound. Turkeys are strange birds is a complete thought. They taste good is a complete thought. I need a comma in front of my fanboys. Okay, is this one compound or complex? And where would I put my comma? If we lived on a farm, it would be harvest season. If we lived on a farm, is that a complete thought? If we lived on a farm? Hey, Miss Jacobson, guess what? What? If we lived on a farm, well, what would you do if you lived on a farm? Okay, so this is dependent. That means this has to be complex. And if my dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence, which I know it is because if is a subordinating conjunction, then I need a comma at the end of the dependent clause. Is this compound or complex? Do you need a comma? My cousin loves pumpkin spice lattes, yet I think they are disgusting. My cousin loves pumpkin spice lattes. That's a complete thought. I think they are disgusting. That's a complete thought. Okay, yet is my fanboys. I always need a comma in front of my fanboys, and this is compound. Is this compound or complex? Where would we put a comma? We live in Texas, so we don't have much of a fall season. We live in Texas. That's a complete thought. If I say, hey, guess what? We live in Texas. You may roll your eyes at me, but it makes sense. Hey, guess what? We don't have much of a fall season. Again, you may roll your eyes at me for being obvious, but it's a complete thought. It makes sense. Well, we need to look for that conjunction in the middle. So is a fanboys, so we need a comma in front of it. And this sentence is compound. What about this one? Although he likes Halloween, he is more excited for the football game. Although he likes Halloween. Well, what is he doing although he likes Halloween? He is more excited for the football game. That's a complete thought. But the beginning isn't, although he likes Halloween. I don't see a fan, boys. It starts with that incomplete thought, that dependent clause, so this has to be complex. My dependent clause is at the beginning, so I need a comma at the end of the dependent clause. Okay, are you ready? Here's your assignment for today. Log into Canvas and take your compound versus complex quiz. This will be a test grade, so if you have any questions, you need to send me a message.